Made on Purpose Living It Out with Made on the Image projects. So today we are going to read, or I'm going to read. You're going to listen to um Strong Friends Diaries entry number 1. I want to welcome you back. I am Randy. So I'm going to get you the entry that starts it all. But first, let's talk about a small little story of my own. Um, a few years ago, I caught myself doing something strange in a parking lot. I'd finished a grocery run. Um, the ones that you get everything, you've got all the lists in your head, you're calculating, you're making sure you got everything. But then you sit in the car with your keys in your hand. You don't start driving yet. You're not scrolling, you just kind of sit. I know that my husband and I do. We'll just kind of hang out and sit there for a minute. Um, and we just kind of think, I remember thinking that that's the only spot where you can just kind of decompress for a minute. Even if you've put your kiddos in the car and they're just kind of, hanging out for a minute, but they're in there, they're safe. You're not having to worry about anything. They're coloring, playing with Legos, just taking a minute to take a breath. You've got them their drinks after the groceries, or you've been able to shop without them. But that parking lot, that spot, it has become the sanctuary. Your engine's off. You kind of just sit there for a minute. And at that point, I didn't have the words for what that meant. So, like the woman in this entry today, she didn't either. Until an ordinary Tuesday where strangers laugh and a mug that had gone lukewarm without telling her. When I finally wrote her diary entry, I understood what that sanctuary spot was. So maybe you have a spot like that too. So keep that in mind while you listen, and we will get started with the entry number 1. All right. So welcome back to after that little break there, that moment. And we are going to go ahead and we'll go through this entry number 1 here. So it started with a laugh, not mine. And I want that on record. Someone else's. I was in the break room around 2, in my usual spot by the window, holding a mug that had gone lukewarm without telling me. The Tuesday air, the burnt coffee, the fluorescent hum. A woman I barely know was a few feet away telling somebody about her weekend. How she'd just gotten in the car Saturday morning with no plan, no list, windows down, and driven until the day felt like hers. And then she laughed about it, really laughed. The kind that starts in the belly and takes over the whole body. Head back, eyes shut, zero concern for who's watching. I'm writing this because of what happened in my chest when she did. It wasn't jealousy. I checked. It was older than jealousy. It felt, and if I've been sitting here trying to find the honest word, so here it is. It felt like a grief. When did I stop doing things like that? I poured out the cold coffee, made a fresh cup that I didn't want, smiled when she caught my eye and said something easy and forgettable. I'm very good at easy and forgettable. And carried the question back to my desk like one more thing somebody handed me. Here's what I know. Now that it's late and the house is quiet and I'm finally saying things in ink that I've never said out loud, that moment didn't start in the break room. It's been building for years. It just hadn't found a place to announce itself. There were signs. There's always signs. I stopped answering how are you with anything true. It's fine. Busy. You know how it is. Dealt like cards before the question can be landed. I redirect every conversation back to the other person so smoothly that it stopped being a skill and it became a reflex. I'm the first name half of my family dials, their emergency contact, the life coach, the airport ride, the one who remembers the appointments and smooths things over, the reliable one. I used to be proud of that. Maybe I still am. It's generally hard to tell anymore. And I think not being able to tell is its own answer. Because somewhere in all of that holding, I drifted. Not dramatically, no storm, no collapse, but like a boat that slips its anchor on a perfectly calm day, so gently that nobody notices, including the boat, until the shore is just a rumor. Watching that woman laugh was the first time I'd looked up long enough to see the distance. So, tonight after dishes were done and everyone who needed something from me had it, I did something I can't fully explain. There's a chair in the corner of my bedroom, the one by the window. Technically, it's mine. Functionally, it holds laundry and good intentions. Not the couch where everybody piles on. Not the seat at the table where I run the family like an air traffic control. But the chair that nobody needs anything from. I moved that laundry to the floor and I sat down. Knees pulled up a little, the way you sit when you're trying to take up less space in the world, which, if I'm honest, is the way I've been sitting for years. And I didn't reach for my phone. That's the part that will sound like nothing to anyone who isn't me. I just sat, while the neighborhood did its evening things outside the glass, a dog 2 houses down, somebody's television through a wall, the light going gold, then gray. And in the stillness, the thing I've been out running walked up quietly and put its hand on my shoulder. I don't know who I am outside of what I do for other people. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't have to. It was heavy and clear and true, like pressing on a bruise. I'd been steering around for years. It wasn't a breakdown, quieter than that, a reckoning, gentle but done waiting. So here's what nobody tells you about being the strong one. So I'll tell you my diary instead. So I'll tell my diary instead. Strength, when it becomes your whole personality, stops being a gift and starts being a cage. I built mine for protection, and it worked for a while. But the same walls that kept the hard things out, kept the good things from getting in, kept people from seeing me, kept me from asking, kept me so busy being what everyone required that I stopped tending what I require. And the cruelest part is the training. The more capable I got, the less anyone thought to ask if it's okay, if I was okay. Because I taught them not to. Class was in session for 20 years and everybody passed. So they don't ask. And I don't tell. And the gap between who I am and who I'm performing gets a little wider every year. Until an ordinary Tuesday, when a stranger's laugh cracks something open, and I realize that I can't remember the last time my own joy surprised me. I can't remember the last time I did anything just because it felt like freedom. Can't remember the last time someone asked what I needed, and I told the truth. And I don't think this is the end of anything. Sitting in the chair, it felt strangely like a beginning. Because here's the thing I wrote down tonight and underlined the thing I needed to believe. The moment that you stop recognizing yourself is not the moment that you're lost. It's actually the moment that you become findable. There's a version of me that existed before the roles, before the wait, before I decided, quietly years ago, without ever putting it to a vote, that being needed was the closest I was going to get to being loved. I think she's still in there, waiting, warm and patient the way only true things are patient. The chair's not going anywhere. I'm going to keep sitting in it, and we'll see who shows up. So are you the strong friend in this story? Have you had a moment like that? So, let's take a moment and let's sit here with her for a moment. So here's what I want you to notice about this entry. There's 3 things. First, nothing happened. There was no crisis, no diagnosis, no betrayal. A woman heard a laugh and she felt grief. And that's the first entry. And that's deliberate. Because for most strong friends, the reckoning doesn't arrive as a storm. It arrives as a whisper on an ordinary Tuesday. So if you've been waiting for your life to fall apart before you're allowed to pay attention to it, this is your permission slip. And the whisper counts. Second thing, the line she wrote about the training, the more capable I got, the less anyone thought to ask if I was okay because I taught them not to. I read that sentence out loud to rooms of people, and it lands like a physical thing every time because it removes the villain. Nobody in her life was cruel. She built the curriculum. They just passed the class, which means, and here's the hope hiding inside the hard part, if she taught them, she can teach them differently. And the third thing, the chair. She doesn't fix anything in the entry. She moves the laundry and she sits down. And that's the whole victory. And I want to defend that as a victory because we live in a culture that only counts transformation when it's dramatic. Sitting in the chair, staying put while the true thing walks up and puts its hand on your shoulder, that is braver than it sounds. Most of us have been outrunning that chair for years. So here's your reflection for the week. One question, no performance required. Where's your chair? The place where nobody needs anything from you. And when's the last time that you actually sat in it? Phone down and let yourself be found. Don't answer that fast. Answer it true. And next week, we'll go into entry number 2. A man this time. The calm one of the office. The guy whose voice never rises. And he keeps a ledger that nobody knows about. And if you've listened closely today, he was in that break room. All right. So we're going to wrap that up. And I just hope that the Strong Friend, that you understand that the Strong Friends Diaries is written and read by me, Randy Donahoe, and the diarists are composites. No real names, no real towns,